What's up, guys? This is Pete over at Fusion Corp. How you doing today? Here with my friend Bernie, coming at you with the second episode of our podcast, the Gimmick Cast. Is that what we're calling it?
I think that's what we're calling it for now until we
It's gonna stay that way.
until we get a better name.
It might change once we have a breakthrough of genius. We'll come up with an actual name for our podcast. But for now, the Gimmick Cast works because that's what it is. It's a gimmick. Our wrestling gimmick is that we sit on a couch and talk to you guys. So, first up on the agenda, we're going to talk about Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor. Just wrap it up. We talked about it last week. I was obviously wrong. I knew I was going to be wrong, but I said it anyway. I said that Conor would win, knockout in the fourth round. Obviously didn't happen. Still a good fight, though.
Yeah, Oh, sorry.
No, go for it. Go for it.
Oh, no, it was a great fight. I mean, I think I was with you if, Conor did have a chance to win. It would have been in the early rounds because the stamina difference, we saw in the fight was apparent.
Yeah, Floyd is always known to be he could probably fight 2 back-to-back 12-round matches and still probably win. He has the stamina of an alpaca. I don't know if alpacas have good. I don't know if they have good stamina, but he can go all day. He's a camel in the ring, and it was obvious. The thing that bugged me the most after the fight, and I don't know if you got in any of the comment sections on the ESPN website or anything about the fight. All the people were like, obviously Floyd wasn't trying for the first half of the fight. Conor, he didn't even have to put in an effort to win. It was apparent. And I was like, he did, Conor landed more punches than Pacquiao did against him. He wasn't just letting him punch him in the face on purpose. Nobody does that. Floyd, if he could go the 12 rounds and not take a single punch, he would do it every single time. It doesn't change the amount of money he makes. So why would he care if the people have already bought it, are watching it? Then what does he care about selling a fight? He would just go out there and win if the fight's already been sold. So that's one thing. And all the people who are like, yeah, a 40-year-old dude beat this 29-year-old guy. How is this a win for Conor McGregor? This is what I will say. If you are the greatest in your sport, you should be able to beat somebody who's never done it before until you're 75. In my opinion, if Michael Jordan went up in a one-on-one match against some dude who's never played basketball before, but he's pretty good at hockey, I would expect him to win, even if that guy is physically in his prime.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of the thing that I saw. I did read some of the comments, and I have something I want to talk to you about that Skip Bayless pointed out when I watched his
Let's hear it. I hate Skip Bayless more than anything, so let's hear it.
Let me talk about this thing first. Before that, I thought Floyd was going to win from the beginning. I think it's just more of a race than the sprint, and that's what it kind of showed. And then the kind of thing that I saw, or that Skip Bayless was talking about, was he was on Conor McGregor's side.
Okay.
So if I listened to his Undisputed TV show, and I listened to his Facebook Live stuff they did, so after the fight, Skip brought up a point that the referee, Floyd, what was his name?
I don't remember his name. He's, always referees a lot of big matches, though.
Yeah, but there was a point in the fight, I can't remember which round it was, maybe it was, I want to say 8 or 9, where Conor got Floyd in the corner, and he was going to strike a punch, but then the referee kind of pushed him aside.
Yeah, I honestly did. I thought the refereeing was pretty interesting, really, because there was a lot of moments where Conor is throwing a flurry of punches, and then Floyd turns his back, which seemed to be his obvious method of defending himself for the first half of the fight, was to go in there and turn his back to him, because you're not allowed to punch somebody in the back of the head. But if Conor keeps punching, his instinct is still to punch you in the back. Yeah. It's just you're not allowed to punch people in the back of the head in MMA either, but his instinct is to keep punching you, right? He's not a trained boxer except for the last 6 months. Mm-hmm. So Floyd went in with this it's almost a dirty tactic because he's using a rule of the sport to defend himself. and the ref kept kind of like, he's like, so you need to stop punching him in the back. Well, you need to stop letting him turn around. That's not a, legal defense in boxing. Everyone would do it if that was the case. You just stand with your back out facing the corner like it's the Blair Witch Project, It'd be the stupidest thing in the world. It'd be the worst sport there is. So there was honestly some suspect refereeing in there, but it was just a weird fight. So it's hard to blame him because they both fought in a really weird way.
Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of also what I saw in the fight was just a lot of the hammer fists from Conor. It's just, I mean, I don't know. I'm not really familiar with the boxing rules, but if you do it so many times, it'd be a disqualification.
Yeah, and it would be, first you'd get some point deductions, and I don't actually know if they ended up giving him any minus points in any of the rounds, because it didn't obviously go to decision. But I think there was a few moments where the guy's like, if you do that one more time, you're going to get a point deduction. So yeah, but at the same time, what Floyd was doing to make Conor do that was also, you could probably get a point deduction for turning your back that many times too. So it was just like, it was really weird. Their tactics, everyone knew Conor was going to go in there with a weird style. Is just his only chance to win was to surprise Floyd. So going in there and throwing weird punches, and he did throw a lot of like weird shots, and he moved really weird. But really, that ref had no idea how to officiate that match, know? Yeah, it was just strange.
Yeah, I mean, it looked a little suspect to me because, I kind of agreed with the point where Conor was going in for like the final shot, and then the ref just kind of brushed him aside, which I thought was a little suspect. And then, I don't know, did you agree with Conor that he would still be able to fight even though his legs go wobbly?
He wouldn't have fallen down in that round. I think he would have stayed up. As a fan of both sports, I've watched a ton of boxing. It was a good stoppage as far as boxing is concerned. There was no way Conor could win that fight at that point. He was just going to keep getting beaten up for the last 2 rounds. So really, it was in all actuality, for Conor's sake, it was a good stoppage. But from a perspective of this sport's ultimate highlight is a knockout, you ended the fight too early. Because Conor wasn't going to get knocked out in that round. Like, he was really, really wobbly. And from an old school boxing perspective, or, even, I mean, it happens now too, but you don't see it as much. Like, the 10 count, you let somebody fall down and get knocked out, essentially, and then you give them 10 seconds to stand up and make sure their eyes aren't crossed anymore, you know? It would have been nice to see if, like, Conor got a chance to, redeem himself and, like, he gets knocked down and stands back up and he doesn't give up. It would have been a moment for the ages, And I think that ending the fight the way they did kind of was like a blue balls moment, so to say, Yeah. They ended it before we got a chance to see the real ending. So it is what it is. It's said and done.
Yeah.
Now, who do you think Conor's going to fight next? Have you kept up on? Do you think he's going to stay in boxing or go back to MMA?
I think he might just go back to MMA.
Yeah, I mean, financially, the best fight for him is another Nate Diaz fight.
Yeah, I think so.
I hope he doesn't. From a purist of the MMA sport, I hope he doesn't. I hope he goes and fights Tony Ferguson. Would be nice, or Khabib.
Khabib's pretty good.
I hate Khabib though. I absolutely.
You hate him?
I think he's such a loser. If you can't, if you're out, I don't know if you know this, but when he had that fight against Tony Ferguson that got canceled the day before, there was a picture of him the night before his weigh-ins of him eating like tiramisu and shit like that. It's like, dude, if you are already somebody who's prone to struggling with your weight, lay off the sweets. Lay off the sweets, dude. I just don't like the way he conducts himself. Like, he's obviously super good. And as far as the people in the UFC that could beat Conor, he would do some damage on Conor. Because when he gets his mitts on you, when he gets his mitts on you, those bear paws, you're in trouble. So That would be a good fight, too. I hope it's Tony Ferguson, though.
Yeah.
I've heard some rumors that Conor might stay in boxing, though, and fight Paulie Magliani or whatever his name is. Paulie Shore. That would be a good fight. Celebrity fight. No, but Paulie, the guy he was sparring with and two-time world champion. Yeah. There's rumors that they, now at this point, obviously hate each other because of all the stuff that happened. Yeah. So there's rumors that they might fight, which would be a big money fight, but honestly, Conor would probably lose that fight too. Yeah. Paulie's pretty good. So stick to MMA. Let's see Tony Ferguson fight.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, both going back to the
Mayweather head massage. We're going to edit this whole part out, probably. All right. Let's see the head massage. That's really funny. Look at his face. He looks dead in the eyes. What was that picture? Is that real?
I don't know if it's real or not.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, that might be a secret.
He loves his head massage. Honestly, secret have you ever had a real head massage?
I've never had a real head massage. Is it good?
Oh, it's nice.
It's nice.
It's good. It's really relaxing. All right, let's move on to the next topic of discussion. What are we talking about?
I think now we're going to be talking about is the transfer window, since it closes tomorrow. And what are your thoughts on it so far? What moves you like? What moves you didn't like?
Man, it's a shit show.
It's a shit show?
It's a shit show. The amount of money being thrown around is just, it's not okay. As we're talking right now when this video is being filmed, Liverpool just agreed to the £40 million deal for Oxlade-Chamberlain. That's an awful deal, in my opinion. I mean, in today's market, it's probably pretty good. Chamberlain's pretty good. Well, he won't even start for you guys, though.
No, I think he's just more of great squad depth. I mean,
$40 million for squad depth, though?
I mean, that's just how the market is. I mean, unless you're AC Milan who can get these amazing deals, then I think $40 million is not bad. Plus, you also got to factor in that he's English. So they're gonna.
I mean, English players have the steepened price for sure. I mean, it's just like I think that some of the stuff going on with these players is just so ludicrous. Mm-hmm. And we talked about this last week, but it's not sustainable for the future.
No, I don't think so either.
But these teams is like, what really, in the long run, as a Liverpool fan, what do you think Oxlade-Chamberlain's actually going to bring? Do you think he gives you a better chance of winning, making top four?
I think in the future he might. I think what I've heard and what I've seen from the rumors and all of that is that he's supposed to be potentially James Milner's replacement when James Milner is gone.
Okay. So isn't James Milner, isn't he almost their dedicated left back now? Or does he still play center mid?
This season now he's playing in the midfield again.
Okay. That's an interesting switch back.
Because
he was pretty good at left back, though.
He was good, but I think we signed Robertson, who's the Scottish guy from Hull. He's really good. It was the Crystal Palace game. He was great, giving great service to the guys up front.
Yeah, give him some good service.
Good service, you know how it is.
That's the Liverpool way. Service each other. Yeah, I mean, I just don't. I think if you spend $40 million, or Jesus Christ, £40 million on any player, they need to provide you at least let's just put it in terms of percentages, right? It needs to go. Your chances need to go up by 1%, right?
Right.
$40 million, I feel like you should go up 5%. That's a lot of money to be throwing around. And when you take into consideration, you're probably going to get 130 or 140 for Coutinho. That's a big chunk of that money for Oxlade-Chamberlain. Coutinho gives you a way bigger chance of winning than he does.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you there, but I think the thing with Coutinho is he's got a little case of Barca-itis.
Oh, he's going for sure. That's not my point. I'm just saying you need to use the money you get for it. I'll bring it back to Tottenham. When we sold Gareth Bale, at the time, the biggest transfer of all time, which is crazy that we ended up only selling him for £80 million. Yeah. In today's market, if he was as old as he was then, now, he would be like
that'd be Neymar
he would be
money.
Neymar price.
Neymar
you
money,
know.
yeah.
But what we did was we spent a bunch of money on like 5 different players, right? Thinking that this squad depth or whatever was going to help us, and those dudes were all trash bags, all of them.
Didn't you get
Lamella?
No, didn't you get Erickson in there, or was that later?
No, we already had him. We had him before that, I believe. But we got Lamella, we got Soldado.
Great player, man.
I'm just saying, like, you need to take into consideration what are they actually going to bring to you. And I think that a player like Oxlade-Chamberlain, his biggest problem at Arsenal was not enough playing time. He's not going to get more playing time at Liverpool. You have a bunch of players who are going to start over him. So it's the Chelsea problem too. And that, I think it says it right here. There's like, I think Hazard came out and said something about Batshuayi. He needs more playing time if he's going to get better. You don't get better on the bench.
Yeah.
So bringing a player like Oxlade-Chamberlain, who in my opinion has suffered from not getting enough playing time his whole career, what good is he doing for you? It's just, in my opinion, £40 million down the drain.
I mean, I guess, but I mean, if we sell Coutinho for the rumored, I think it was like 160 million pounds, then I think 40 of that goes there. The rest of it goes to the Naby Keita deal for next year.
See, that's a good one, though.
That one's a good one.
Because he instantly comes in his light year. In my opinion, he's the best midfielder you have by far. Emre Can is pretty close, but he might not even be there by that time.
Yeah, I think we might sell him or let him go because he wants to move, I think. Because he hasn't signed his contract.
It sounds like he's going to go to Juve.
Yeah, I mean, which would be good for him. I mean, I like Emre Can. I think he's really good. I think with him going, I think it opens up a spot for Keita to obviously, I mean, no matter if Can was staying or not, he obviously is going in there. But I think it maybe also gives Ox a better opportunity to fight for that other spot as well.
Yeah. And the last Liverpool one I want to talk about, Thomas Lemar. 50 million, right? Or 55 million?
Yeah, something like that. I think we upped it to like 63 or something like that.
Even that, don't go too much. I wouldn't want to go too much higher than like 70 for him, really.
No.
But in the market we have now, he's 23 or 24.
No, I think he's only like 21.
Really? I thought he was a little older than that. Regardless, that's a great signing.
Yeah, I think so.
Because he'll come in and start for you guys. He's he's better than Ox in my opinion. Yeah. Easily. He has a higher upside than Ox does too. Yeah. And if he's actually 21, he's younger than him too. So that's a great signing, especially for that price with the amount of money they're saying for Mbappe.
I know. Which I don't know how PSG got away with that.
I thought Lamar played better than Mbappe. From every game I watched the two of them play for Monaco last year, I was way more impressed with Lamar than Mbappe. Yeah. And I guess it's just it's the position kind of changes the price for the player. So Mbappe is a striker. Strikers are the money. That's the money position. But you could put Lamar up at left wing and he'll score goals too, and get assists.
I mean, that's what's good about just grabbing Ox and Lamar is that they're both versatile in whatever position they can play. Yeah, they can play out wide or they can play in the midfield, which is great, especially when we get injuries, which I mean they're going to happen
always.
So
you guys have so many wingers now, though.
I know
you're so deep in the wings. You have essentially starting level players for both wings on the bench and starting. You have Mane and Salah,
Mo Salah,
killers out there. And then if you get Lamar and Ox, which you already apparently have Ox. I don't know though. It sounded like he agreed to a Chelsea move already. And now he's agreed to a Liverpool move, so you never know if it's actually going to end up going through at this point. But that's pretty crazy. That's some depth.
Yeah, I mean, this is great. I mean, this is the first time I think I've been excited for a Liverpool team in a long time. Because we finally have it feels like we're finally getting back to European football the way it used to be for us.
See, I still feel like you might be right on the edge of top 4. If you got Lamar, I might want to push you up to top 4, maybe number 4. But once you get Keita in and get, either figure out the Emre Can thing if he stays or goes and get a new replacement for him who can play defensive mid, I don't think there's very much of a limit for what you guys could do. Like, depending on if Naby Keita comes in and plays the way he did for Leipzig in the Prem, he's the equivalent of having a Conte.
Yeah.
So it could put you guys up at number 1 or 2, really, which is crazy to say compared to the last few years for Liverpool.
I don't know. It's crazy that we talked about not even making top 4 to this kind of buzz and excitement that people are saying, oh, you could be underneath like Man City or Man United for fighting for that top spot.
And then you got my other. Let's move.
Okay.
Tottenham. I'm stumbling because I'm so
distraught,
nonplussed by what they've done. I should say I do love Serge Aurier. Mm-hmm. I think he's honestly, we paid half the price. I think. I haven't seen the official price, but from what I understand, it's half the price of Kyle Walker.
Yeah.
And he's a better overall player.
I think he's a better defender than Kyle Walker.
In pretty much every facet, really. Maybe he's a little slower, but not by much.
No.
The only thing that comes into question with him is his character, because of the whole. Do you remember the PSG thing he had, where he was like talking shit about all the bunch of players, and then Laurent Blanc and stuff like that?
And he also had the issue with the cop, which.
What did he do to it? What is it?
I think he punched a cop, I believe. I think that's what happened.
He deserved it, though. Don't punch cops, please. Also, don't take offense to that, whoever watches this. That's not a good thing to do, Serge Aurier, okay?
But, I mean, the good news is he got his permit. He got his permit for what I've heard. So, I think it's a great signing for you guys.
That's a great signing. For that price in today's day and age, too, that's money. I mean, it's also probably something to do with the fact that Kyle Walker is English, goes for a lot more money. But yeah, I think Serge Aurier is going to come in and kill it. But that is besides the point, because in my opinion, the biggest place we need to figure out is our striker, and we are not doing anything to help Harry Kane.
Yeah.
Vincent Janssen was absolute wank rubbish last year. He was nonsense on the field. He was like, the only goals he had were penalty kicks, and I think he even missed a couple.
Yeah, that's.
How do you bring this dude in just to be a goal scorer, and he's only getting goals through penalty kicks, and he's missing some? I still think he has a chance. He's really young.
Yeah.
I think he's only 21 too, so he has a chance to turn it around.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to see them bring in somebody who we know will score goals. We just need to do something. I think all these teams are improving so much around Tottenham that it's just going to bring them back down, closer and closer to the verge of not being in top 4. I still think based on what we have, we're top 3. But it worries me for next year and the year after that. Yeah. What if, though? This is what I like to think.
Okay. I
keep reading a lot of rumors that Gareth Bale is falling out of favor in Madrid.
Yeah.
And that they're probably going to get rid of him. Okay. Or try and get rid of him. What if Tottenham is like just biding their time? Because he's still pretty young. He's not even in his prime yet. He's 27.
27, yeah.
So he probably about to be in his prime, or he's just like in it now.
He's probably in it right now, I think.
But he's still got some years. Like Ronaldo's, what is it? How old's Ronaldo? 33?
Yeah, I think so. 33, 34.
He's still the best player in the world. And mind you, Gareth Bale is not Ronaldo level of player. But if we know Gareth Bale can kill the Premier League, bring him in. Bring him back, He would already be he's the fan favorite. He's easily my favorite Tottenham player of all time. He's the reason I'm a Tottenham fan, because I love Gareth Bale so much.
Yeah, but I think the problem with that is I think he wants to either go to like Man United or one of those type of clubs.
I just don't understand why, though. That's my problem with Manchester United, is why all these players want to go there, other than the fact that they get to wear a Manchester United kit. Like, Mourinho's not a good coach to play under.
I think he's a good short-term manager. I don't think he's a good long-time manager. But, I mean, Mourinho said that Man United was his dream club. So, I mean,
Yeah.
We'll see.
I don't like him very much, personally.
I don't think anybody does, really.
So it makes me curious why these players want to play for him so much.
Well, maybe he's got some secret tactic, some secret...
Maybe he's good at servicing.
Maybe he's good at servicing.
Maybe he's better than whoever the guy you said. Left back or whatever.
Left back. Robinson.
He's better servicer than Robinson from Ireland.
He's Scottish.
Oh, he's Scottish. Sorry. Scottish. Yeah, that would be... I mean, because there's a big difference in the Tottenham team that Gareth Bale left and the team that he would be coming back to if he did ever come back.
I mean, it's a good team right now. I love that
They
team.
also obviously have different intentions for what they want to do. Like the Tottenham team of Gareth Bale's era, it was him. You know, he had some other decent players around him, but they relied so heavily on him. He might not even end up coming back and being the most popular Tottenham player. I said a minute ago he would, but now that I'm really thinking about it, he probably wouldn't be. Tottenham fans love Harry Kane. Harry Kane is the dude. One of our own. So Gareth Bale would be coming back to a team that's already star-studded. You know, playing with people who are on the same caliber of Real Madrid players. Real Madrid has been rumored to want to buy our top three players. They want Eriksen, they want Dele Alli, and they want Harry Kane. So it's not like if he wants to go play for a good team, and we easily have the money to pay him what he wants to. He's comfortable in Tottenham. We love him. Just bring him back. It'd be awesome. I heard a rumor last year that there was actually a rumor going around last year that we were gonna. Next topic of discussion. NBA 2K18 came out with their top 10 players ratings. I don't play 2K games. I don't play sports games other than FIFA. That is the first thing I will say. But I am triggered. Triggered by the ratings. I think they have some serious mistakes. There's some omissions on here. Let's just list them off first. Number 1 rated player, obviously, King James, 97 rated. Number 2, Kevin Durant, 96. Kawhi Leonard, 95. James Harden, 95. Steph Curry, 94. Russell Westbrook, number 94. Whoa. Rating, 94. Anthony Davis, 94. Demarcus Cousins, 92. Paul George, 91. Giannis, I'm not even going to try and say his last name.
Antetokounmpo or something.
Antetokounmpo.
Antetokounmpo.
The Greek Freak, 91. Before I go on the triggered rant, what do you think of these ratings?
Let me see here. So we got the only one that I think should be on here that isn't, I think, is Karl-Anthony Towns.
Okay.
I think he should be on this list. Do
you think he's a top 10 player in the NBA?
I think he's a top 10 player in the NBA.
I probably agree with you.
That's one that I think that should be added. I mean, I'm not going to say that Anthony Davis is overrated, but I don't think he's where he should be right now because he's gotten injured so many times.
Yeah.
And he hasn't, I guess you could say the same thing for Karl-Anthony Towns. He hasn't taken his team to the playoffs. But I think...
They will this year.
I think Anthony Davis's team was a lot better, and he should have been... I know the West is strong, but I still think he should have been in a position to at least get to the 8th seed.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And then one that I think is interesting is... Giannis, the Greek Freak, of course. 91. I know he had a great kind of season and a decent little playoff run, but I don't think it was decent or good enough to put him at like a 91 that 2K has put him at.
That is so crazy to me that they would put him in the top 10 players. All right, rant is incoming. First things first, I'm going to go down the list. How do you put Russell Westbrook below Steph Curry and James Harden, and for that matter, Kawhi Leonard? Kawhi Leonard is my favorite player in the NBA. I love Carmelo. He's my favorite player of all time. But right now, Kawhi Leonard is my favorite player to watch in the NBA. Every time I watch him play, I'm so impressed by what he does. He dominates games. But how, after the season that Russell Westbrook just had, I don't even like Russell Westbrook. I really dislike the Thunder. But how do you put him as the 5th rated best player, or not even the 5th? He's the 6th best rated player in the game on this list. That's insanity. You take the MVP coming off one of the greatest seasons of all time, averaging a triple-double, the 2nd time ever, and you put him below Steph Curry, James Harden, and Kawhi Leonard. Insanity to me. He should be number 2, in my opinion. I'd put him over KD. Whoa, Cupcake. Wow. Whoa, Cupcake. I'm calling you out, KD. I hate you. Number 2 point. Demarcus Cousins. He was trash for the Pelicans. Maybe not trash. That might be an overstatement. Because I like DeMarcus Cousins, and I do legitimately think when he's playing his best game, he is a top maybe 15 player, probably top 12. But you can't put him above Karl-Anthony Towns, in my opinion. There's no way. Right? And I don't even think DeMarcus Cousins doesn't even play center for the Pelicans. He plays power forward, right?
No, I think Davis plays the power forward and then.
Oh, really? Okay. Regardless, that makes my point even more clear because Karl-Anthony Towns is the center for Minnesota, right?
Yeah.
How do you take? I would never take DeMarcus Cousins over Karl-Anthony Towns. In any facet of the game, Karl-Anthony Towns is better than DeMarcus Cousins. Mm-hmm. That's my next point. Last one, the Greek Freak. NBA 2K, the guys over at 2K are supposing that Giannis is better than Kyrie. He's better than Isaiah Thomas. Probably, but still, it's up for debate. He's better than Chris Paul. Come on. Last point, where's Porzingis?
Kristaps.
Where's Porzingis in this top 10?
Where's Tingus Pingus?
Don't put him in there. But still, there's some screw-ups on this list.
Yeah, I think the one that kind of sticks out to me that I think might be controversial, I don't think Paul George deserves to be on this list.
I don't think he should either.
He had a terrible postseason. I mean, I understand that he broke his leg and he's miles to where he used to be. Like he's still a good player, and don't get me wrong, but like last season, it wasn't even about his athleticism or anything like that. It was just about being the number one guy in Indiana, and
he didn't do it.
And he wasn't clutch enough, or didn't even do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, his Gatorade commercial will tell you otherwise, but
it will definitely tell you otherwise.
But he wasn't very good against that Cleveland series, and I don't even think he's like a 91 player. I think he's like an 89,
88.
88 even. Just like in the high 80s.
The last 3 players on this list all need to go off the list.
So who would you put instead of those 3 guys? Like what would
Karl-Anthony Towns, Kyrie Irving, and I'd probably say, man, it's tough because some of the DeMarcus Cousins is really good, and Paul George, if he gets back to where he is honestly probably a top 7 player in the NBA, but he's not there yet. He needs he needs some more time. But I mean, let's leave DeMarcus Cousins. I'm taking Paul George, Giannis out. I'm putting Kyrie, Karl-Anthony Towns on there for sure.
Yeah, I'd probably say the same.
Where's Patty Mills at?
Come on.
As a joke. Don't put him on the top 10.
No. You're done.
But seriously, I think there's a popularity contest.
I just think 2K, the way that they go about their business sometimes is a little... It's dick riding. I think they're dick riding the NBA players sometimes.
Yeah, well, like I said, I think it's a popularity contest, and I think they're taking players like the Greek Freak is the greatest example on here because he had a great year and he plays really, really exciting basketball. But how are you going to say he's a better point guard or better player than Kyrie Irving? I just don't agree in any way. Mm-hmm. Even man, this is tough to say, but like Klay Thompson.
That's another good shout.
Klay Thompson, how is he? I think I'd take Klay over Giannis. maybe not long term, but right now for what they're trying to do for the next season's ratings, Klay Thompson is better than Paul George and Giannis.
Yeah, I think Klay's underrated because he plays on a team with Kevin Durant and Steph Curry, and they take the shots and
Even for that matter, Draymond Green. I hate Draymond Green, but right now he might be better than those two dudes.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little crazy to think that those guys are on there.
What about LeVar Ball?
LeVar Ball's a 54. He's a 54 overall.
He's a 554.
For all my part guys out there, he's a level 1 brown shirt.
Wow.
I think that's how bad of a player he is.
I don't know what that
is.
means. I don't play that game.
It's just kind of like the level tier. They go from like.
Oh, gotcha. It's like Overwatch ratings, kind of. But
yeah,
basketball.
But the one rant I will go on about 2K is about they do the greatest teams from each team.
Okay.
And
like all time?
All time, yeah. So they
all
compile a different, if they get the rights to the players. The one I disagree with is the one from Philadelphia where they have Joel Embiid on the greatest team. How is he on the greatest team if he hasn't really played that much for...
He's played like 40 games total.
Yeah, he hasn't played that many games, so that's why I'm wondering why he's on this list.
That's nuts. I would take Elton Brand right now over him. Elton Brand had some good seasons in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say that Embiid won't be a good player, but I understand he's got a relationship with the 2K team, especially Ronnie.
What's his rating? Have they revealed his rating for the new game?
They did. It was I want to say it was like 80 something, like 85 maybe.
Okay, that's about right. But still, how do you put him all time? He's all time in the top. What are they going to put Markelle Fultz on the top too? Guy hasn't even played a game yet.
I know, this is ridiculous to me. I don't.
That's so crazy. It's just like, I mean, Joel Embiid. I really like Joel Embiid when he plays.
I think he's going to be a great player. I don't disagree with that.
And as a character too, I think he is probably like one of the best. Like just outside of playing the actual game, he's very entertaining to me. But there's no way he's a top 5 player of all time for Philly. Do you know who else is on their team? Can we find that? Because I would love to hear who made the team with him. They probably have Ben Simmons, Markelle Fultz. They just have like their current team on there. That'd be funny. And Dr. J.
Can't forget about Dr. J. AI.
All right, let's see. I mean, it's just like it's kind of the problem with all sports games, right? It's kind of a popularity contest. They take who they think like people want to be the best rated, and they give them really good ratings. It's just it's pretty crazy. What is that?
I'm trying to find the list.
Allen Iverson. Ooh. I like LeBron James. He's the best player.
So here's the list. So for the starters, we got Allen Iverson, Hal Greer, Julius Erving, Billy Cunningham, Wilt Chamberlain, and then for the reserves, we got Andre Iguodala, Hershey Hawkins, George McGinnis, Doug Collins, Joel Embiid, Maurice Cheeks, Drew Holiday, Darrell Dawkins, Henry Bibby, and then Aaron McKee.
Like, I understand that you're trying to fill out your team, but at a certain point, just don't do it. Just cut the team short. You don't need to put an 80-rated dude in the greatest of all time for Philly. Like, at that rate, you could say Ben Simmons hasn't played a game in the NBA, has he? Like an actual regular season?
No, he hasn't.
Put him in the top thing. He's better than Aaron McKee, probably. I mean, it's just kind of silly if that's what they're actually rating it as, But I see by what I'm actually looking at, Joel Embiid isn't a bad shout, really.
I don't know. The only reason why I don't pick Joel Embiid is just because he hasn't played in a lot of games.
I mean, I agree with you, but if they're trying to fill out a list like this, why would they need to fill out the list that deep?
Well, it's just because you want to do your starters and then like a deep bench, I guess.
Yeah, but you could just say hey, we're going to pick the top 5 players of all time from this team. Then we'll pick a couple, maybe not great legends, but some legends for Philly, and then we'll just fill it out with the actual current team. You know?
I guess.
Because not every team has enough players to say, like, look at this. Who is that? Go back up for a second. Go to Phoenix. Cedric Ceballos? Who is that? Do you know who that is?
He's a old school player, if I remember.
Oh, I'm sure he's like from the 70s or something, but still. Like, is there anybody who really needs him in the game, is my point. Maybe I'm just being rude to good old Cedric, but still.
I think you're just being an asshole to Cedric.
Maybe I am. Sorry, Cedric. Let's go back to the list for just a second, though, because I feel like I saw somebody else that was a little suspect. Like, come on. Some of these, it's so silly. Why do you need that many people on your list?
I guess you just need, how many is that? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
It's so crazy.
Like 15 players per team. I mean, that's how much a full roster is usually.
Yeah. But then, I actually kind of like that. Antonio Davis. I love Antonio Davis. On the Toronto Raptors. I wonder what the worst team is, actually.
Probably the Cavaliers team, even with.
Is it really? No, because it has Kyrie on it too, right? And then it probably has Kevin Love on there too.
Yeah,
It's interesting. Regardless, I don't know. I think for sports games as a whole, even Madden does it too.
Yeah.
It's a popularity contest, always.
Yeah, well, I'll still be raging about that, but let's just move on to something else so we can cool off a little bit from the raging. Maybe we might even rage even more about this. We got some WWE news to discuss. Peter, why don't you lead this off right now?
I don't watch WWE. I said that in our intro video. But I've been trying to keep up just for the sake of discussion. And because I am a longtime fan, I do have some stake in what happens in the WWE, especially
He's
because
got stock in it.
I have stock in it. Me and Vince are tight. But really, I know a lot of the current wrestlers. Mm-hmm. So I like to keep up and just see what's going on in the current WWE. Recently, there's been some big developments in the WWE, though.
Right.
Primarily, the Roman Reigns John Cena promo that they just cut. I watched the whole thing. It's probably the longest WWE video I've watched in 2 or 3 years. Oof. It's 15 minutes almost.
Damn.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Good.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I felt like it was half real, maybe overstating how much it was actual shooting from the hip, That's always the big discussion when you have a crazy promo is how much of this is a real shoot, going by wrestling terminology. How much of this is a real shoot, and how much of this is scripted?
Yeah.
And that promo was really interesting because unlike CM Punk's pipe bomb, which you could obviously tell was him going off script and writing his own lines, this was more in question because they're the two poster boys for the WWE, easily the two biggest poster boys, other than Brock Lesnar, with the Undertaker gone officially. They're the two dudes. So you really have to be a little conspiracy theorist and wonder, are we just breaking the fourth wall for the sake of views, right? And attention? But there is also very personal things they said to each other that seemed like they really meant what they were saying. Maybe it was still scripted, but maybe they really did mean what they were saying to each other. Because the things they were saying are true not only by actual WWE, like the superstars themselves, their standards, but from a fan's perspective, what they were telling each other was true. John Cena buries new talent, always has. Roman Reigns is a trash bag who's been given the key to success. He's protected more than anybody ever. So makes me wonder, what do you think? I know you put your video out, but what do you think the percentage of real to scripted was in that?
I want to say that it was. I'm gonna go. It was 75% a work, and then the rest as a.
Okay. So from not wrestling terminology, that means 75% scripted. Right.
Right.
I would probably agree. I say 50-50 just out of pure hope that it was real, because if it's real, it makes it a lot better.
Yeah.
If that's a shoot, that's an incredible promo. You know? It changes the message behind it, because if they're really airing their grievances like that in that way, it is an impressive promo, because they really are. It would be, if Roman was just going completely off the cuff there, that's proof that he's everything the WWE wants him to be. He just needs to get to the point where he can do it every time.
Right.
Because that promo he cut was really good. Not only by his standards, it's easily the best thing he's ever done, other than the grind your bones to death.
To death.
It's the best thing since then.
Way better than his nursery rhyme stuff.
Oh my God.
That was terrible.
That is the worst shit ever put out by the WWE.
No.
But that's like good by any WWE superstar standard. That's probably better than most of the people in the WWE now that they could do.
Right. I mean, just talking about it a little bit more, I mean, the thing that I really liked from Roman Reigns' promo was that he brought up the point that John Cena can't bury me.
No, he can't, though.
He said that, like, you buried all these other guys, but there's one guy you can't bury, and that's me.
But the thing is, he's at a different point in his career than some of the guys that John has buried before.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like a weird discussion of, like, you can throw that out there as, like, an insult, like, you can't bury me, but of course he can't bury you. You're way too established to be buried at this point in your career.
Yeah.
That would be like trying to say that you can bury, like, back in the day when the Triple H and The Rock were going at it. That would be like Triple H saying, like, or The Rock saying, you can't bury me, to Triple H.
Yeah.
Like, of course he can't bury you. You're way too established to be buried at this point in your career. So it's kind of like a moot point. You're coming out with this argument that has no water. It holds no water.
Right.
But it's true. It's just like a point you didn't need to make.
Yeah. And I thought a great point that Cena brought up that I didn't really talk about in my review is that he talked about the U.S. title and how John Cena treated it as like a badge of honor because he brought so many superstars up from it.
Yeah.
Like
it
Kevin
has
Owens.
definitely become much more important in the last 5 years than it was for 15 years before that.
Yeah, and then when Roman Reigns took it over, he saw it as like a demotion because, you know, before that he had the WWE Championship on him. He was flying high until he got his suspension. Which still to this day I don't understand how he goes from suspended to gaining a championship afterwards. But
it was the U.S. Championship.
But that's a mute point. But, you know, I mean, I think that's just the kind of thing that that's the part where I feel like some of it was kind of off the script, as that some people would say.
Yeah, that definitely felt like more of a shoot than the other stuff. When he was like calling him out, like, you don't respect the things you're given in the WWE. He really is given way more than any other person I've ever seen. Because John, albeit he has every key he could ever be given, he's the most protected dude of all time. Yeah. But he did have to earn it. Exactly. He didn't instantly get there. He did his whole rapper shtick, and he was not the most popular guy in the WWE at that point. So Roman really was the guy who's been handed the most. Mm-hmm. So I think that the point John is making would be more valid if it was made by somebody else. Exactly. Like, let me try and think of somebody who would be better. Like who's really like had to, like Daniel Bryan. That's a perfect example. If Daniel Bryan was making that point, that would be the greatest promo of all time. Because it's true. Daniel Bryan busted his ass for everything in the WWE. Right. And they still didn't want to give it to him.
No, not even close.
So I think it depends on where you're at in a fan's perspective. Like, this is a really good promo as far as building up to this fight.
Yeah, which is kind of like what I talked about in the review. Is it's a shame that it's just a B-level No Mercy.
I wouldn't be surprised if this feud goes on for a while, though.
I mean, I've heard some rumors that I think Roman Reigns might be going after the Intercontinental Championship.
Ew.
And going for a title of WrestleMania versus Brock Lesnar.
Intercontinental for Universal?
Yeah.
Why would Brock Lesnar want the Intercontinental Championship?
Well, you could have both. Both belts on
Yikes.
you.
I mean, he would win. I've heard the super fight. They're gonna do their rematch.
Yeah.
Yet. Which actually, that 32 WrestleMania 32 where they had it wasn't last year's. It was the year before that, right?
Yeah, 32.
That was actually a good fight. And then Brock Lesnar busted his head open on the pole or whatever. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That was nuts. Now, so let me ask you. We're in a very new age of wrestling, the indie age, as I would like to call it. I don't think people are calling it that, but it should be called that because it really is. Every top dude, other than Cena and Roman and Brock, are indie wrestlers.
Exactly.
I want to ask you your opinion.
Okay.
We're gonna do a couple lists on this episode. There's one later, but this is another list.
Off the cuff.
Who's your top 3 dudes right now in the WWE? Or let me say, top 3 dudes you want to see at the top.
At the top. So the first one, obviously, is going to be AJ Styles.
Okay.
I think the style of wrestling and just his work ethic is like phenomenal, no pun intended. Okay. And I think the second guy is Nakamura. I just think his entrance and the way that he presents himself, especially when he was in NXT, where you barely saw him as much as you do now, where you see him every week, I think was almost kind of like a Brock Lesnar feel, where every time he showed up, it was a big fight.
I feel like they should keep doing that. They need to go back to that.
I know, which I don't...
Not Randy Orton tag teams. Get that shit out of here. Nobody wants to see that.
And then the third guy, only because he's my guy, I'm going to go Sami Zayn.
I mean, he's the biggest baby face in the WWE. They just don't use him like that.
Yeah, I mean, he's just a jobber. I mean...
He's Jack the Jobber.
He's Jack the Jobber from Woke Culture. But, you know, it's just sad to see that his storyline is so easy to, like, script and just write. But I don't know what the writers are doing, because sometimes they write is just nonsense.
Are they doing another Owens-Zayn feud after the SmackDown thing?
I'm not sure. It looks like it might be. I think what I've heard is like it's going to be a Team McMahon versus Team Owens thing, and I think maybe Sami Zayn will be on Team McMahon because Shane's been screwing over Kevin Owens a lot.
Sounds kind of whack.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll see.
It's okay though. It would boost Kevin Owens if he's in a feud against the McMahons. That would be kind of like that would be a big deal for him. You know? Because the McMahons never write themselves in a boring feud. Yeah. It's always like a crazy, like, not always good. That's not my point. It's always crazy, though.
And then one guy I'd give a shout out to as like a heel, because I pick almost all baby faces, I think would be Samoa Joe.
Yeah, but he's a lovable heel, though.
Yeah, but I mean, like, he's still like he's good on the mic, and he has a very short time because he's older. Yeah. So I'd love to see him just at the top.
You can't go wrong with Joe. It's great.
What about you?
This is an interesting list coming from somebody who doesn't even watch the WWE or watch their shows, but I'm going to give it to you anyway.
Okay.
Number 1. Well, let me go back to front. Number 3.
Okay.
Already near the top. Love him. In my opinion, can't go wrong. He never does wrong. Seth Rollins. You don't go wrong with Seth Rollins. Goodness gracious. Can that guy wrestle? He can talk for days. He needs to be the number 1 babyface in the WWE. He has it in it. I'm telling you. I've been saying it for years.
I know, but they screwed it up, though.
They did kind of screw it up, from what I've heard. But they can recover. He can recover it. He just needs to do his own thing, right? He could be the top. Number 2, I'm going to come a little similar to you with Nakamura at number 2. I love Nakamura.
I think everybody does.
I feel like everybody loves him, but at the same time, people are starting to lose it because of the way he's being written, which is a bummer to me. Because really, as far as charisma and just presence goes, him and Brock Lesnar are easily the top 2 dudes. Yeah. If you book them in the same way, they're the only 2 dudes in the WWE who could work that way.
I know.
So,
which is why it kind of sucks that you see Nakamura on every week of SmackDown Live. It's
such a bummer. It's not the kind of character he is.
Because, like, it's almost kind of like what they're kind of almost doing with Bobby Roode, where it's like he has a very, very great entrance.
Yeah.
But if you keep doing it, people are going to be annoyed and they're not going to keep singing along to it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Number 1, I'll probably put Finn Balor.
Finn Balor?
And I think his injuries have derailed him. And my special shout-out is going to be another person like this. But I think Finn Balor has literally every single thing you could want from a top guy. And if you take him back to his New Japan roots and get the Bullet Club back together...
That's what they need to do.
That would be the biggest fucking thing ever. It would be the biggest WWE thing of all time. If you took the Bullet Club, literally copy-pasted it, and put it in the WWE, it would be the new DX. Everybody would love it. Shout out.
All right, what's the shout out?
This is a real shout out. So, we were talking about Hideo Itami. If he can stay healthy, that dude's got it. Next point.
Okay.
This is my last WWE question before we move on to something else. I want to ask you, because in my opinion, the 2 best wrestlers in the world are not in the WWE.
2. Okay.
Because I didn't tell you guys this, but I don't watch the WWE. I do watch New Japan Pro Wrestling every once in a while. I try and keep up. It might be a minor spoiler as to who I'm talking about. But I want to ask you, doesn't even have to be one of the 2 guys. If you could take any dude in the world who's not wrestling in the WWE right now, there are a lot of good ones.
Yeah.
Who would you take? And let's say, hold on, one more caveat. We take this person and we throw them right into the main event of WrestleMania, or just their championship contenders in the WWE.
Okay.
Regardless of what championship they could be contending for.
Okay. Can I say it now, or we...
Go for it. I want to hear it. You're first, and then I'll go next.
All right. So the guy that I would pick, I think it's an obvious one. I think it makes the most sense, and you could have so many matches, dream matches. Especially, I think John Cena also wants to wrestle him, and I'm going with Kenny Omega.
Ooh, you can't go wrong with Kenny. I love him.
I think the reason why I picked Kenny is because not only does he speak Japanese and English, he's also got this charisma about him that you could also make him the main guy, the top guy.
He's so incredible.
He's so good.
He's so incredible. Hold on, let me give you my number 1, and then we can have a discussion. Because my number 1 is actually different. We had a dropping of phoning. My number 1 is Okada.
Okada, okay.
Honestly, Okada, the more and more I watch of him, he might be my favorite wrestler of all time.
All time, wow.
The work he does in the ring is so incredible. His look, this sounds super, super silly and kind of weird, but just the way he looks like a superhero. Like a Japanese superhero. I love that man. I would watch him wrestle everybody in the WWE. I would want him to run through the entire roster. Imagine him versus John Cena. Imagine him versus Roman Reigns when he just body Roman Reigns. Okada, Brock Lesnar. Okada, Kevin Owens. You could. It's the same thing as Kenny Omega. So now let's get into the discussion of the 2.
Okay.
In my opinion, those 2 dudes are the best wrestlers in the world.
They're so good.
They're better than anybody in the WWE. And I think you take them and they're instantly the number 1, number 2 guys. If you could get them, I don't think Okada would ever come to the WWE.
I don't think Okada would. That's the only reason why I wouldn't pick Okada.
I almost want to say Kenny Omega probably would never come either.
Well, he wants to wrestle AJ at WrestleMania.
Really?
Yeah. So he
fucking hell, that would be so cool. I honestly, that'd be like the equivalent of like a wrestling orgasm. AJ Styles, Kenny Omega in the main event of WrestleMania.
It'd be too good.
It doesn't get better than that.
No. And, that's the reason, Kenny Omega, to me, he kind of has that Vince look that he likes, where it's just like he's strong. He's not like fat or anything like that.
But like he's cut. He's absolutely cut. But he also has like a different look to him though, with his like super long like permed hair. He looks different. Like he looks unique. He's super cool. And even Okada fits the style too. He's definitely more of that big bodied dude than Nakamura and Hideo Itami are.
Yeah.
So those two dudes would fit in so well. Like, I don't even care if Okada. What if they took Okada, right? Can't even speak a word of English. I don't know if he can or not. But they take him, and he's such a prototype because he's a young dude too. He's only 28. I think.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Wrestling terms, that's young. You know, you bring him in, and we have the king of the prototypes, Paul Heyman. He's like, you know what? Brock Lesnar's getting a little old. Okada is the new guy. And he talks for Okada, and then Okada just wrestles everybody's fucking faces off. That would be the greatest thing to ever happen in WWE. I'm getting excited, visually excited, physically excited. I love Okada so much. Kenny Omega, too. Bring him in, and then what about this storyline? You have Kenny Omega, because he's the leader of the Bullet Club in New Japan right now. You bring him in, you have Finn Balor, who's the original leader of the Bullet Club. Right. You have AJ Styles, who at one point was the leader of the Bullet Club. Kenny Omega. What if you have like a feud between the three of them? That's gold.
That'd be good.
And then you have like a Bullet Club style feud where they're like, who's the true leader?
Yeah.
You don't get better than that.
I know. But the problem is that WWE would never ever do it that way. They would blow their load and probably put it on like a B-level pay-per-view.
Yeah, and they probably have Jinder Mahal beat all three of them clean in one match or something.
Yeah, and with Roman Reigns.
Oh my God, it'd be Jinder Mahal and Roman Reigns. Like, yeah, those dudes.
Those guys are the leaders.
They're better than Omega and Okada for sure.
Yeah, but that's the only thing that makes me upset with the WWE is that they have all these great wrestlers, these great talents, but they just don't know what to. They don't know how to build storylines for them. I don't know if it's because they don't know how to, or is it they just are the laziest bookers I think I've ever seen.
I think they want to push their agenda so much. They want this style of storyline to be the most prescient one that we have. You know, like they want Roman Reigns to be this crazy like bulldog who beats everybody up against all the odds. No, that's not what his character is. He's literally the dude who you let him beat everybody. You know,
right.
There's always a level of everybody knows that this is a work. Everybody knows it's scripted. Right. So you can't just say Roman Reigns is a bulldog who overcomes all the odds. We know that you're letting him win or writing it so he wins against The Undertaker.
Yeah.
It's just silly. But you bring in a dude like Kenny Omega who possibly a big portion of the WWE's like kids who watch it or even just people who just watch WWE have no idea who he is.
Right.
He can talk circles around people in the WWE. Bring him in and let him just show his stuff. He doesn't even need to go to NXT. It would be a waste of his time. Same with Okada, for that matter. He's not going to learn anything. He could teach the teachers in NXT more than they have ever learned about wrestling.
Yeah, but I think NXT would probably be a perfect place for them because that's like that's the place where Triple H knows what he's doing and knows how to build storylines.
Yeah. It just makes me want, like, is he really doing it, though?
I think so.
You think it's Triple H who's writing storylines?
I don't think it's Triple H writing it, but I think he puts people that know how to tell a wrestling story in the positions in NXT because NXT, without a doubt, for me, is the number one show.
Okay. But you would think after this many years they would realize that people gravitate towards the stories in NXT more.
I mean, you would say that, but the problem is, when Vince is in charge, he wants it his way and his style of wrestling cartoonish stuff.
And the problem is he's never going to die either.
No, I mean, this dude's, like, he was in a car accident and he didn't die or, like, got seriously injured.
He's a zombie.
He's a
ghoul. He's Dracula. But yeah, I mean, I just want to talk about that for a minute. You know, I'll give you a sleeper pick too. Actually, I wasn't gonna do this, but Ricochet, aka Prince Puma.
Ricochet was my number 2 if I picked him.
If you bring him in, that'd be sick too, because that guy, his high flying abilities is far and away better than anybody in the WWE.
It's ridiculous how good he is.
Or the Young Bucks. I'm done now. I love the Young Bucks too, but that's another topic for another day. We're going to move on to the next thing. This is your topic you wanted to discuss, so I'm going to let you take the lead on this.
All right. So this is a topic that I've been thinking about for a while. I mean, I'm sure Everyday Struggle with Joe Budden and DJ Academics have talked about is just but do you think that Drake is still on top in terms of the rap business? Is he still the king of rap? Or do you think he's moved more towards pop? And who do you think, if you do think that he's more pop, who do you think is the king of rap right now?
It's a tough discussion, really. Like, it's a tough topic because in terms of popularity and mainstream just viability, it's always going to be Drake. As long as he stays with the activity that he's had for the last 10 years, he'll always be on top. It doesn't matter who the new person is. He is such an established fan base. And really, like, if you can... He also does this, thing that a lot of people say is bad that he does, but it keeps him so far ahead of everybody, whereas, like, when people say he bites people's flows or styles. People that he seemingly bites their styles from are people that a lot of U.S. listeners haven't heard yet.
Right.
So for the majority, the mainstream will never think of him as, a stealer or, stealing flows.
Yeah.
So if he keeps doing that the way he has, I don't see any reason why he wouldn't ever be on top, like not be on top.
Right.
But I will say, rap, the king of rap is Kendrick Lamar. Like, popularity-wise, he's there.
Yeah.
And just from a rap fan base, he's number one. Strictly a rap fan base. Overall music, it's Drake.
Right.
But I don't know, man. I think Drake is number one. He's the top dog.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like what my opinion's leaning toward. Is just, I think Drake is just too far established that he will never not be the top guy. Mm-hmm. But I think I want to know is, do you think that Kendrick Lamar could be that guy, even just doing rap?
I love Kendrick Lamar. I don't think he could. Like, he's even on his last out on Damn, he had a couple songs that were seemingly meant for radio, mainstream songs.
Right.
And in my opinion, they were easily the worst songs on the album. That song with Rihanna,
Loyalty?
That is one of the worst songs I've heard this year.
Oh,
That's really, really harsh because Kendrick Lamar is easily the best rapper doing it right now. Mm-hmm. That song is awful. It sounds terrible.
Really?
I hate it. So I think from just that song in general, I can tell you that popularity-wise, Drake is always going to be the king.
Yeah.
Because his songs that he puts on albums that are meant to be radio songs are good songs, always. Mm-hmm. I mean, Hotline Bling is incredible, and it was like the 20th track on Views or whatever. It was just like an afterthought to add it to the album.
Yeah.
But that song was meant for the radio. It's an incredible song, too, like just by replayability alone. So I don't think Kendrick could ever put out a song like mainstream catchy enough to be that level. That's good, legitimately good. I don't think he could do it. Because Loyalty is pretty popular. It's on the radio all the time on like Sirius XM or whatever. Mm-hmm. But that song is pretty whack. It's pretty trash, if you ask me. What do you think? Let me hear your opinion on that.
I think the song's not bad. I like it.
Okay.
I think it's I like the Rihanna part. I like the beat of it.
Okay.
Which I'm pretty sure is the 24 Karat or 24K by Bruno Mars. Like, just slow down a little bit.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I haven't listened to that song enough times to know that.
So.
Either of those songs, for that matter.
So, I don't know. I do like the song. I think it has a good... I understand the meaning of it. I think it's a very good...
would you agree that that was like his attempt at a radio song on
I think that one was a major attempt because he knows that Rihanna's a good just radio single to kind of spread his music.
Yeah.
And, I don't think it's Rihanna's best song in terms of, like radio play.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really like her music in general, but it's definitely not her best song.
Compared to, like, the other ones where she does it with Drake. I think the chemistry with Drake is a little bit better.
Yeah. I mean, you take somebody who's strictly, like, a rapper's rapper, Kendrick, and put him with a pop star.
Right.
It's never going to feel as good as, like, an actual, like, a rapper who does do pop music, which is Drake.
Exactly.
I mean, it's, like, just even compare that song to Wild Thoughts. Like, Bryson Tiller is nowhere near as talented as, what are you doing?
Just thinking
You're
the song right
vibing
now.
There's no way that Bryson Tiller, I like Bryson Tiller, there's no
Right.
way he's as talented as Kendrick Lamar is. But the two of them together, that song is so catchy.
Right.
So, I don't think Kendrick has it in him to put out, like, what is stereotypically a catchy pop song. I mean, Humble got a lot of radio play too, but even that is probably my second least favorite song on that album.
Oh, wow.
Like, when he's just putting out an album song,
Right.
like DNA is an album song. That song is amazing.
That song was good.
Duckworth is an incredible song too. That's a good album. It's my least favorite of his albums, but it's still great. But I think the problem with it is some of it sounds like it's more meant for the radio than any of his other albums.
Right.
So if your standard of selling albums is like if it can play on the radio, or popularity is if you're on the radio for the mainstream, Drake is far and away more popular and better at it than he is. I wouldn't say he's a better rapper, obviously.
Yeah.
But that's not the topic, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's do an impromptu topic, actually.
Okay.
I just thought of one. Everyday struggle. Let's just talk about everyday struggle.
Okay.
That's the biggest shit show on the internet.
You don't like it?
No, but it's not that I don't like their content as much as I don't like
Joe Budden.
No, it's just I don't like the way that Complex treats DJ Academics, and that sounds really kind of pansy-ish, right? But the screw job of it, the sabotage that's written in between the lines of what Complex has tried to do to DJ Academics in his reporting career is so obvious to me. Every step of the way they fight him, like Joe Budden and Nadeska or whatever her name is, they're always arguing with him over stupid things. Complex reports the same exact news that DJ Academics does a couple days after he does it. They put him in situations where they know these rappers either have a bias against him, they don't like him, and then they just leave him to the wolves, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of agree with you there because I didn't like how they did the Vic Mensa thing, where they just kind of let Academics take all these punches.
Yeah, and then his two co-hosts who are, supposed to be there with him, are like kind of snickering in the background, just like not saying anything to his defense. If anything, they were agreeing with Vic Mensa. Whereas the whole point of the discussion was like DJ Academics was not ever doing anything that bad in the beginning.
No.
He was just reporting news from Chicago.
Right.
Which for some reason Vic Mensa took offense to.
Yeah.
So for them as a news outlet themselves to just sit there and say, hey, let's just let him take these shots without defending him, they report the same stupid-ass news as DJ Academics does. He just reports way more news, and he gets more in-depth than they do.
Yeah.
So for them to sit back and not defend him at all and just leave him there was like, why would he stay there? And it almost makes me dislike DJ Academics a little bit because like he's bigger than Complex at this point, or almost there.
Right. But I think the reason why he chose the Complex or just to go to Complex is that I think he had a little bit more flexibility with what he's able to do than going to a different place. But then also his just networking. I mean, I think it's a great way to network with these rappers and learn about the different areas about the profession that he wants to do.
I agree. And I think like the other thing too that I like, that I think is a big reason that he stays, is the production.
Yeah.
If you watch his videos, it's just clips, like GIFs or pictures. He gets like a legit set, like a TV style set to talk on. Like, if they actually cared about DJ Academics as a reporter and as a character on their product, they would give him his own show. Because Joe Budden offers nothing to that show. Other than that, he can be controversial sometimes.
Right.
Nadeska is absolutely useless. The show is honestly just a screw job for DJ Academics. Like, I feel like everything they've put in place is just to derail him in the traction that he had.
Okay.
I feel like it's a little suspect. Like, it's a conspiracy theory I have that they made that show completely in the attempts to make him look like an idiot.
I will say they did put him in bad situations to look like that, but I don't think that's what Complex intention was. I think their intention was to grab the fan base that Academic has and just bring him over to Complex.
Well, because I think it's a two-headed thing, right? They want the attention that DJ Academics had because his news videos get way more views than theirs do. He's bigger than Joe Budden is. That sounds crazy, but he really is. He has more people who listen to him every day than Joe Budden does by a long shot.
Right.
Joe Budden's albums don't sell shit. He doesn't put out any big singles. I like Joe Budden as a musician, but he's not nearly as popular as DJ Academics. Nadeska is nobody, really. So
she's not too bad. I just think she's not. I mean, she's good at like from the Complex videos I've watched of her doing like interviews and stuff like that. I think she's good with that, but I'm just not sure about this because it's very hard to kind of handle both Academics and Joe Budden when they start wilding.
Yeah, I mean, she offers nothing in my opinion.
Yeah.
I'll just be more harsh than you. I genuinely think she offers nothing to the show, and Joe Budden is like I feel like when they brought Joe Budden in, they're like, we want you to just give him a hard time, give DJ Academics a hard time as much as you can.
Yeah, I just think maybe this is more another conspiracy theory, is that just Complex is just trying to be more. They're trying to stay on the trending page.
Oh, 100%.
So they bring in someone like Academics, use up his popularity and how hot he stays, and then once he's not popping anymore, or when he's not getting as many views as he usually does.
If he doesn't leave soon, I feel like he's going to start.
My thing is, like, I think he should leave, maybe not soon, but, like, in a couple months, once a full year's passed, and just create his own show.
Yeah, because there's no way he doesn't have the money to do a show that style on his own. And if he did a show that style on his own, he could bring in his own people to interview, right? He has connections with some rappers he talks to.
He talks to Lil Yachty, Ugly God. I mean, he has
those
connections.
are big people,
Yeah.
And imagine the conversation that Academics could have with Lil Yachty if Joe Budden wasn't there acting like a clown.
Right.
Joe Budden, the whole thing with Lil Yachty is like, what are your album sales going to be? It's like, dude, he's going to sell more than you ever have, So you come on here and try and make him look like a fool. But in the process, it makes Lil Yachty not want to come on your show anymore, and he's one of the most popular acts doing it right now. Right. So, it's just such a weird situation. I don't know. I don't like it. I think it needs to go away, and we need to be done with it. Because Joe Budden is not a reporter. He doesn't deserve to be on a news show. I honestly don't think he offers very many good opinions either.
I mean, some of them are okay. I mean, I understand that he kind of comes from that old head, just like someone that comes from the past and talks about.
And maybe that was actually their true original goal, was to bring Joe Budden, who's a notorious old head in the hip hop game, and then DJ Academics, who's definitely of the new age. I don't know. Let's move on. All right, next topic discussion. This is where we're going to get to the list kind of set up. But I want to ask my good pal Bernie, eating his watermelon over here, I want to ask him what he thinks of the new school of hip-hop. Because I think that what we're in now we're past not past it, but we're entering the new school, right? Another new school.
Another one.
We had the Drake. I like to wrap it up into 3 rappers, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got Drake, Kendrick, J. Cole are the top 3 from the last era.
Right. No,
And their era is still going on. I think we're gonna have Wale. Take this L, Wale. Sit down, boy. We're gonna move on to the new school. I think you can have eras in the same time, and I think that you can't put dudes like X, Uzi, Lil Pump, Lil Boat. You can't put those dudes in the same era of hip hop as J. Cole and Drake and Kendrick. It's just like they sound completely different. Their music isn't the same, you know?
Yeah, right.
Who, in your opinion, in let's say 2-3 years, who are the top 5 dudes in hip hop outside of, let's say the bygone eras of like Jay-Z and Kanye, or even that's before Drake and Kendrick. Right. But let's say the Drake-Kendrick one's just ending. We have the new school.
Right.
Who are your top 5 dudes who you think will be at the top? Not necessarily your favorite, because that's different. Top 5 dudes.
Top 5
who you think will be the top.
See, that's hard, because this is a category that I feel like I don't really have that many people that I listen to as well. There's only a couple guys that I like to listen to from this new era.
Even just like people that you've heard, like, because I could put a couple guys on my list that I don't even like necessarily, but I think when it's all said and done, they're going to be top of the food chain,
right?
Popularity wise. So do you have 5 you could pick, or do we need to do 3? Because we could do 3.
I think 3 would probably be a better.
Let's do 3 because I think it's easy to summate an era into 3 dudes. Like I said, you got Drake, J. Cole, Kendrick is the last one. So let's do 3. That's a fair number.
So I think what it will be is I think number 3. I think will be X.
Yeah, I mean, if he keeps on the path he is, it's just like everything he puts out is so incredibly popular.
And then I think, this one I'm a little troubled on, because his career could go either way depending on when he releases another album, is Playboi Carti.
Okay.
And then I think
popularity-wise, I agree with you.
Yeah. And then number 1, I think, is Lil Uzi Vert.
Okay.
I think that's like the number 1 guy from that 3.
I have a completely different top 3 than you.
All right, let me hear this.
Number 1, I'm going to go from number 1. Because not even necessarily, I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm just saying number 1. And I'm going to equate them to their counterparts of the last era. The new Kendrick, Denzel Curry, for sure.
Curry, okay.
You can't go wrong with him. He's absolutely spits fire on every single thing he touches, every beat he's on.
Right.
And lyrically, he's the guy for this generation, Then, I'm going to put Ski Mask. I actually think he's so different.
Right.
He's out there. I think when it's said and done, he'll be more popular than X, which is a bold statement, but I think it's actually true. And then my last choice, I'm going to put, if this guy can stay out of trouble and maybe get past some of the things he's done, you might laugh because it's a funny choice.
All right, go ahead.
But it's Famous Dex. Because he's in the same boat as Ski Mask, where he sounds so unique. And he has the intangibles that the other rappers do, but he does them better. Like Playboi Carti's the ad-lib guy, right? He made an entire album out of ad-libs.
Right.
Famous Dex does the ad-lib thing better than Playboi Carti, and he can actually rap sometimes when he chooses to do it, But if he can't beat some of the things he's done in the past, like the hitting his girlfriend or whatever at the time,
right.
He can't get past that. Obviously, it's not going to be him. But let's say it's not. If Dex can't stay out of trouble, it would be probably Uzi or X for that matter.
Yeah.
I'd say one of those 3 guys is the dude. And then sleeper pick.
sleeper pick.
I love him. If he can, the booty tape had its problems.
The booty tape did have its problems.
It had its problems. But Ugly God has all the intangibles you need to be.
You think so?
Absolute star. Because when he actually makes a track and he's being serious on it, it's better than most of the stuff that other serious rappers put out all the time. You know? Yeah. But he also has the intangibles of he's legitimately funny. His writing is good. And outside of hip-hop, he just seems like a funny guy. He's not really doesn't do anything that gets him in trouble as far as, we've heard yet. Just a funny guy. So, yeah. Who do you think, who's your favorite, though?
I think my favorite, which is why I picked him as my number one, I think, which is, maybe it's a little biased, but I think Lil Uzi Vert's number one.
Absolutely not even close for me. Uzi Vert is bottom barrel.
Bottom barrel?
Mine's Ski Mask.
Ski Mask?
For sure. Ski Mask, the Slump God. Everything he puts out is so good. It's so great. I love it.
And then I
touch it.
And I think the close second is X, I think.
Yeah, I like X too.
I think the reason why I pick X is because out of all the guys that we talked about, I think he's the most multi-verse. So like he can sing, but he can also rap as well.
Yeah.
Especially on his album 17.
Definitely. Let's get into that right now. Let's talk about Uzi and X's album.
Yeah. So we got the projected sales. I believe Little Uzi Vert's was 120,000.
Yeah.
And then X's was 70,000, which was really good for what
the album was. It wasn't even like him being his popular self, which is like screaming and stuff like that. It's like singing. So let's talk. Which one do you want to start with first? Let's talk about their albums. We've both listened to both albums, right?
Right.
All right. So which one would you rather start with first? Because I have some thoughts on both for sure.
Let's start with Uzi, just because.
I hated it.
You hated it?
I hated it. I'm just going to come right out of the gate. I hated it. I liked 2 songs, not counting EXO Tour Life. I like that song. I like Unfazed with The Weeknd because of The Weeknd. If you put The Weeknd over any trap beat, it's always good.
Right.
Like any song he makes with Future is awesome. But that song is good not because of Uzi, but because of The Weeknd. And then I like, what's that song called?
What, Sauce It Up?
Sauce It Up.
Sauce It Up.
Sauce It Up. That song, I do like that song.
That one's good.
Other than that, I really, really don't like that album. I think it all sounds the same.
Yeah. I think that's the problem with the Uzi Vert sometimes.
And it's so cocky. And not even like all rappers are cocky, always, but just not even in like an enjoyable way. Like there's literally, it's in Sauce It Up. There's a part in that song where he's like, I'm the greatest. It's like, dude, you're putting out your first album. It's a mixtape. Isn't it called a mixtape? Isn't it?
No, I think it's actually his first album.
Is it his first? All right, whatever. It's your first album, and you're saying you're the greatest. It's like he literally is trying to be like he's punk rock Lil Wayne. To me, that's what Uzi is. So for him to say he's the greatest discredits whatever he's inspired by, which is obviously Lil Wayne. You're not the greatest. You have one hit song, probably 2. Sauce It Up is a hit song. It's going to be on the radio all the time soon enough. So I just feel like it's like so boldly cocky in a not a good way that it annoys me, and it really does sound like the same song over and over again.
Yeah, the thing with the Uzi Vert's album is that most of the songs do sound the same, and I think that's what kind of knocks it down for me. I thought the songs that I did like were Sauce It Up. The one with The Weeknd was alright. It wasn't my favorite, Weeknd collab.
Yeah, not my favorite either. I just liked it.
And then, of course, EXO Tour Life. I think those are, my 3 songs that I'd pick from that album.
What was the third one? Oh, EXO. Those are...
Yeah. Which, I mean, EXO, I don't know if we really should count it.
I wouldn't count it.
Then I guess the other one would probably be the, what was it, 444 plus 222.
666.
Yeah, just 666.
Yeah.
It's
a decent song, too.
It's not bad.
I can, listen to that one. When it comes on, if I'm listening to, playlist I'm listening to right now, if that came on, I would probably listen to it.
Yeah, so that's the thing with Lil Uzi Vert. It's just, I think he's got such a unique sound when he wants to have it, but the songs that just all sound the same are the ones that you kind of just skip, and it's just a mediocre project at best. I mean, I mean, I said he was like my favorite rapper of like the new age.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have this many like hit or misses, it kind of makes me rethink of who I should really pick as my top guy.
Yeah, especially when it's as hyped up as this album was
Yeah.
too. Like,
I mean, the sales are there, but I don't know if like, because I mean, when we go back to the past era when we got Drake, Kendrick, and J. Cole, their first albums were really good. Like I really thoroughly enjoyed every single album from the three guys from the past.
No, I agree. And I think, sales obviously aren't anything. I think part of Uzi's, his bonus and, to his credit is they hyped up the album very well.
Yeah.
He's done a good job marketing himself. And to be fair, he is really different than a lot of the people out right now, so it helps him. But it doesn't say how good the album is,
Right.
Like, let's even use Drake. Like, Drake, I love Drake. Views is not a good album.
No.
And that album is, like, that sold so many copies, So it's not all sales. It's a popularity contest like everything is. But, like, you have songs like For Real on that album. That's such a trash song. He literally says For Real for 3 straight minutes.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not music. You're just repeating the same 2 words over and over again. Mm-hmm. And I know nowadays that's kind of key to making a hit song every once in a while. So for all I know, it could be, his next EXO Tour Life popularity song could be For Real. I don't know. But that song is not good.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's a 2 out of 10 on that album for me.
2 out of 10?
I don't like to give actual ratings, but I'm going to give that a big 2 out of 10. Let's move on to X.
X's album.
Give me your thoughts first, seeing as I hit you with that I don't like it straight away on Uzi's.
The thing about X's album, I like it, but I felt it was incomplete. There were some songs that were probably like 2 minutes something that I think that if he added a little bit more to it, I think would have been probably an amazing song. I think this would have been, from like my rating, I'd usually do 5s. So I think this one, to me, was a 2.5. I think this one would have been like a 3.5. There were some songs that I felt like should have been a little bit more completed.
Yeah.
But the style and the sound of him, I like.
Well, I mean, that album, by all intents and purposes, is not a hip-hop album at all. Other than one song, which is my favorite song on the album. It's the Everybody Dies in Their Nightmares.
Everybody Dies.
That song is awesome. And that song, to me, proves that he can rap, like, really, really well. I like the album. It's definitely not my favorite thing he's put out. Mm-hmm. Like, I like Revenge, which had some old songs on it, but I like that a lot more. Mm-hmm. So, like, there was definitely some stuff on here I didn't like. Let me even look. I'll look at some of the song titles.
See, my favorite one was it Jocelyn Flores?
Oh, that's a good song.
That one I liked. That was like my favorite song from the album from X's.
Okay.
That was like my favorite.
But like here's an example of a song I didn't really care for. That Fuck Love with Trippie Redd.
Yeah, that one was.
I felt like the two of them should have a better song. Like, I like Trippie Redd, okay? He's not super good, but he can definitely bring energy to a song.
Right.
And that song was not very good. Mm-hmm. And when you have an 8-song album or whatever it is with a couple like skits,
with interludes and all that,
you need to have some good stuff. And I feel like his method of approaching this album with like, I just want to make this a slowed down for the depressed people album. Right. It's fine and dandy if you can make it a complete album like you said, but I agree with you. It's not complete. Like, it needs other stuff to it. It suffers from the same thing Uzi's did, where it kind of all sounds the same. Like, you can say, hey, I want to make this album for these people. Right. Or this type of person, but it needs to sound different. Mm-hmm. Like, a good example of that kind of album is like Kid Cudi's Man on the Moon 2 or 1. 2 especially. Yeah. That album is for depressed people, 100%. But every song, for the most part, sounds different. Mm-hmm, right. That's why it's such a good album. But really, you can't... I mean, it's just... I think the problem nowadays that these rappers are facing is getting out of their box of music. Like, it's unique for what it is, but it's not unique in the context of an album of 17 songs where everything sounds the same. So once these rappers start to find their own identity and then split off from it and make different music, like if X had done his regular, like some of his screamo music, right?
Right.
And maybe some of his singing music on this too, like he could have easily explained that as this song, the lyrics of this song are for a depressed person.
Right.
But it could have sounded different. It doesn't all have to be slow singing over a guitar
Mm-hmm.
melody. So it's okay. I'd probably say it's a 2 out of 5.
Yeah.
If we're going by that, which would mean it's like a 4 out of 10 by my earlier ratings. I'm not going to give ratings for everything I do.
Yeah,
but
no, that's...
it's like a 4 out of 10. It's just
Yeah.
like it's not finished. There's not enough to it.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, otherwise, I see the potential there for him.
Oh,
as
for
like being
sure.
like almost the top guy.
He's very versatile. I mean, his singing voice is legitimately very good.
Yeah, it's not like, when I expected, when he said he was going to sing, I was like, oh, I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, it's good.
Because usually the rappers don't really have a good voice, and they use auto-tune to kind of correct their voice.
Yeah, he has a good voice, actually. It's not bad. So it's like, it's good for what it is. It's just, there's not a lot of it, and it's the same stuff.
Yeah.
Over. It's better than Uzi's, though. So I think X takes the lead overall.
Takes the lead overall. I think it's about the same, honestly.
Yeah, they're in their own lanes, but they're definitely like we said, they're the new school. You know, those are like two of the top dudes. Might be the two top guys for sure. Who knows though? It's going to be interesting to see where it goes in the future. Really, like X, the way he puts out music, he might have another album out in 2 months of like, this is not for depressed people. This is for the ragers. So, who knows? We'll see. We'll see where it goes. Last thing we wanted to talk about, this is going to be a shorter one, is Dragon Ball Super related. We're just going to talk about the 1 hour special.
Yeah.
It's kind of a spoiler. Sorry, but turn it off now if you don't want to hear the spoiler. The 1 hour special is
you already spoiled it for them.
I'm going to say what that 1 hour special is about. So, it's the Jiren and Goku fight.
Yeah.
Goku's new transformation. What do you think of the 1 hour extended episode?
I think it's a good formula if it's like if it's the fight, but the fight finishes at that hour. Because that's the only thing.
Yeah,
that's the only thing that I get annoyed with these like specials and the anime stuff is that
Dragon Ball especially.
Is that they have these fighting sequences that go on for episode after episode.
That's Dragon Ball, the king of it.
Yeah, and
I can almost guarantee you it won't end in that episode.
That's what's gonna be kind of like. Then why did you need like a 1 hour episode?
Yeah.
Type of thing. But I'm excited for this fight. I think everyone's been kind of hyped for it.
It's almost like their substitute for movies.
Yeah.
Like Dragon Ball Z had all the movies that would come out throughout the course of Dragon Ball Z coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually hoping that they would start putting movies out, like interspersed every couple months.
Right.
They take a few weeks off and then release a movie right in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Where they could have different animators, different writers come in and, write a unique story that's not necessarily part of the actual story. It's just kind of offshoots like the original movies were. But if they start doing this where maybe like once every 2 months they have an hour-long episode, that would be really cool too. I don't think that's going to happen though.
No.
It's too much work with their schedule that they have where they make a new episode after new episode.
Yeah.
They couldn't possibly do it.
Exactly.
It's going to be interesting though.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to watch it. I think like being able to sit down and the problem with Dragon Ball as it's airing that I have is like it goes by so quickly. Not the time in the episode, but the time of actually watching the episode, it goes by so quick. It feels like by the time you hit the halfway mark where it gives you the little animation, like, hey, we're halfway through, you like just started the episode.
Right.
So the 1 hour special will feel nice as far as how important the context of that episode is to Super.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I will greatly enjoy that.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting fight. Is this going to be where Goku unveils the new transformation?
Yeah, I think so. I think they've announced that.
They've announced
it? Yeah. Maybe not announced it, but maybe some of the leaks that have come out.
Oh, okay.
That is what's going to happen in that episode.
Okay.
Which will make for a nice 50-minute transformation screaming scene. That would be awesome. See, that's what they should do.
15 minutes.
They're
of the
just like, hey,
transformation.
we're not even going to give you any fighting. We're just going to do a 50-minute long transformation scene.
Ugh.
That would be cool. Anything else you want to talk about today, my friend?
There is one thing that we need to discuss, and it's these stupid Vivo clickbait titles that people have in their thumbnails.
It's not even like a clickbait title. It's literally people put Vivo over their face.
Yeah, it's so stupid. I think it disrespects the artists that actually do put their stuff on Vivo. Pause.
That's awesome. Your mom is so funny. That's exactly what my mom would do too.
Yeah.
She would run over to get the phone. She's like, "Oh no, they're recording."
No.
All right.
Okay, so
You were saying that it disrespects.
I think it just disrespects artists, especially rappers. Now that they come out with these diss tracks, especially from the Jake Paul.
Jake Paulers.
Jake Paulers.
The problem for me is just like who actually sees that and is like, this is Vivo. This guy's got Vivo on his video. He must be legit.
Yeah, I think it's just
We should put Vivo on this video.
I think we should.
This is a Vivo sponsored podcast and Perrier.
Parody. But yeah, that's just it. Kind of just tricks the fans that I think when some fans go on YouTube that aren't really they don't watch as much YouTube, even though I think YouTube is becoming more of a bigger platform.
No, it is
for little kids. But when little kids see that Vivo sign, they're like, oh, Vivo sponsored their video, or Vivo, they must have cooperated with Vivo in order to put this out.
Yeah, I guess so. It's just
because these videos have millions of views. It's not like if people knew that this wasn't a Vivo related sponsored video or didn't understand any of that stuff, they wouldn't get those millions of views.
See, it's just interesting to me. Sometimes the things I see with the Vivo little logo that's obviously fake are not marketed towards kids anyway.
Yeah.
Like the vlog guy who's beefing with DJ Academics or whatever.
Right.
Like that guy's not marketing his video towards kids or trying to get kid viewers. Even his subject matter has nothing to do with other people who aren't watching DJ Academics videos, which means that those people who watch those videos should know that it's not a Vivo video. It doesn't even make sense that it would be a Vivo video.
Right.
Just clickbaiting at an all-time high.
Yeah, it's
You
just
have diss tracks, Vivo, like boob shots, or like
gone sexual,
sexual pranks, gone violent,
emotional.
It's like I can't see who clicks on that nowadays. How do you not see that and think like this is obviously fake?
I think maybe people know that it's fake, but they just click anyway just to see, like, oh, okay, let's see what this video is about.
I guess so.
Because, I think people have been aware of these kind of clickbait titles and all that stuff, but they don't care. They'll still click on it.
Can I burn a bridge right now? A possible bridge later on in our YouTube career?
Sure. Burn this bridge.
RiceGum.
Oh.
I hate RiceGum. Why, you don't want me to burn this bridge?
No, I just don't want to burn the KSI bridge. I still want that KSI bridge.
Ew, I'm burning that bridge too. KSI.
No, KSI, we love you here.
What happened to you? You're not the same, man. Too many diss tracks. I don't like any of it. RiceGum. All right. KSI, you're exempt, okay? Because he likes you. I used to like you. RiceGum, I'm looking at you. Your videos are whack. You're trash. Step back, son. Anyway, guys.
I'm gonna put that complex disclaimer.
Put that disclaimer
all over this side.
RiceGum, you trash, dog. Sit back. Take this L.
I just think it's kind of funny.
I don't know what L you're taking. You're taking a L from an 8 subscriber channel.
From 8 subscribers.
I think you have like 10 million or 5 million or something. So really, we'll take the L for you. But you know that I don't like you. Make a diss track towards me. My name is Pete. His name is Bernie. You can make a diss track towards him. Fuck you, dog. All All right, guys. Anyway, this is Pete, Fusion Corp. That's Bernie. Hope you enjoyed the second podcast, the Gimmick Cast. Please come up with a better name. We're struggling. We're going to come at you with some more videos later this week. We have some other things planned. Next week, going to be the start of another series. I think I said this last week, too, but it really is going to happen. I'm doing a Dolph Ziggler type move.
Yeah.
But next week, start of a series I'm going to do called Reviewing the Reviewer. I'm going to be talking about awful reviews on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Fantano, I'm looking at you, needle drop. I'm just kidding. You're pretty cool. Anyway, guys, it's Fusion Corp signing out.
Yeah. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe down below. And we'll holler at y'all later. Peace.
Holla, dog.